Hey and welcome back. This is Jeremy, and like I said in the last tutorial, we're going to jump in and we're going to make our own class. And we're going to use the rectangle class because that's what I learned and I still have the information available to me. So we're going to start with a new Java project and we'll call it rectangle. Okay, so within the rectangle class, we're going to make, or within the rectangle we made, we're going to make a class called rectangle. We're not going to check, which we'll call it rec. For some reason, this says it exists. I'm not sure why. Anyways, we'll call it rec, and we won't use any. We won't check anything. So we'll hit finish. Oh, there is one there. Let's get rid of that one. Okay. Actually, we could refactor this. Let's show you how to refactor. Refactor is basically just rename. We're just going to rename it to rectangle. Yeah, finish. So there you go. Now we have rectangle. So, like we said in the last tutorial, what defines a rectangle? Well, it's typically length and width. Okay, and so these are going to be our fields or variables that we're going to use, and we're going to make them doubles, just to catch any floating points that people might want to use. And then we're also going to make them private, so we don't want any outside program or any other class to modify the variable names we worked so hard to come up with. Because actually, if this name got changed to Jimmy, and yet we have width put all the way in here, it won't work at all. It's always good to keep your variables private. Next, we need to come up with a mutator method, which will allow us to set some stuff. So when I was learning this, I was told that it was easier to remember accessors as getters, and then mutators as setters. Either or is fine with me. I will probably jump between back and forth between them all, actually. So if you recall from the almost the last video or the video before last, how we talked about there's like 3 parts to setting up a method. First, you have to have your access modifier. So we're going to leave this public because we want the outside world to be able to use this method that we're making. And the return type, we're going to say void. This is not really going to return anything. We're just going to set stuff. So we're going to call it set length. Set length. And I'm using camel casing here. Okay, so we already know that it's going to be a double. And we're going to use len so we don't get confused. Okay, so when we make our driver program, that's what I'm going to call it, or whatever program, when we use the length, it's going to come in as this variable called len, and we're going to store it to the variable within our class called length. So we need to set length equals len. Alright, you with me so far? Alright. Hopefully this is not getting too confusing. Once we get it all written out and we actually run it, it'll actually make a little more sense. So now that we grabbed the length from the user, now we need to get the width. So again, we got to come up with the access modifier, which we're going to use public void, because we're not going to return anything. We're getting information. Set width. All right, and I'm gonna again. This of course is gonna be double, and I think I'm just call it W. Yeah, let me say width. Width equals W. So whatever the user gives us comes in as W, and we'll set it to width. Okay, cool. So now that we have this, Now we can actually return this back to the user, so we can get the information back and we can spit it right back to them and say, hey, this is what you gave us, this is what it looks like. So we'll um, we'll set up some getters. So again, here's a public, and this is going to be a double. This will be the return type because we're returning a double. We say get length. I hope if I put an N in there, it looks a little better, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Okay. And for our parameters, since we're not passing anything in, we're actually going to spit stuff out. We're going to say return length. LINGTH. Let me put a space in there. It looks a little nicer, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. All right, next we're going to say public double get width. Again, we're not accepting any data. We're going to be returning data. So we return the width back to the user. I think this is good for right now. So let's save this, and let's make so within our rectangle class, we're actually going to make another class, and we're just going to call it I'm going to call it driver, and that's the best name I can think of at the moment. And yeah, we'll use this. All right, so we need to import a scanner class because we have to be able to pass information to the rectangle class. So we have that. Good. All right, so now that we have this set up, what we need, there's a couple ways that we can do this. Let's hold off on passing through the scanner class. Let's do the easier way. So first we're going to call the class itself, which is rectangle. Just like the string class that we could call string, well, here we're going to use rectangle, and I'm going to call it just rec, I guess, for rectangle, equals new rectangle. Oh my lord, my fingers are not working. Rectangle, there we go. Alright, nice. Okay, so we have this. So what can we do? Well, we have some methods that we set up. We could set the length. So we could say, we could call that, so rectangle dot set length, and we have to give it a value. So let's say 20. Okay. Then the other method we set up was set width, and we'll say 10. Because if we made that 20, it really wouldn't be a rectangle, would it? It'd be a square. So that's kind of cool. But now what? This really doesn't do anything. If we run it, we get nothing in return. So we need to do print statements. System.out.print. Say print line, and we could say the length of the rectangle is. Now this is going to be something that's a little bit, well, we're going to use the variable that we created, the reg, okay? And kind of like in the string class, how we use the 2 upper, 2 lower, stuff like that, we're going to say dot get length. And you have to give it the 2 parentheses so it can grab the information from the length variable that we set in within the class. So to see this actually work, we should get back 20. Alright, there you go. The length, the rect variable is 20. I'm going to copy this, and we're going to change this to width, so we can see the width variable that we set here is going back to this class, and it'll come back through here. Look at that. We got 20 and 10. Nice. Well, to show that this is actually working properly, we'll change this to 200 or 200. So we know that we get something different. Look at that. Now it's 200. So now we have a class and a driver. Wasn't too hard. Yeah, I know we could set all this up over in here, but I can make, instead of just this one, I can make another one. I'll do it real quick. So copy, paste, we'll say rec 1, or 1. And then rec 1 dot set length. To 30. And we'll change this to rec 1. So I mean, this right here is a little bit faster, and instead of putting everything in here and have to rewrite all this stuff, all this code out, so I get all this stuff to work properly. It's easier to have objects. I can just keep making one after another after another. I can make 4 or 5 different different drivers to represent 4 or 5 different rectangles and their sizes and their shapes. The one thing that we are missing, which is I think it's called avoiding stale data. So what this is when the values returned in stored fields is not, well, I'll say that for a different topic. That one's it's a little confusing. Well, let's make up one more method real quick. We'll make up our own method, and we'll call this get area. So it actually does something else. That's pretty cool. So we'll say public, because we want the driver to be able to use it. It's going to be a double, and it's called get area. So how do you get area of a rectangle? Well, it's really simple. It is the length times the width. That's it. It is that simple. So back in here, we could say system I'll show you guys that shortcut soon. We'll say rec dot get area. Oops. Get area. So we should have, what is that, 2000? There you go, yep, 2000. So there you go. So now we have a nice little working program. I mean, we've covered harder stuff, I think, in the past with all the conditional loops and event loops and whiles and stuff like that. This is just a new topic to kind of wrap your head around, and then we'll start introducing the other elements of like the ifs and the elses and stuff like that, so we can have more control of, well, what if we only want a particular size of a rectangle to be within the realms of 10 to 150, but in 160 we could return back to them saying, sorry, this doesn't fit within our specifications, please try again, or whatever. So until then, I'm Jeremy. Thank you very much for all of you that's been stuck around. This is what, tutorial 31, I think, when this will go up. Yeah, I think it will be. So yeah, we've made quite a few. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know when more videos come up. The likes, I love when you guys do that for me. That makes me feel like I'm actually doing something. And make sure you follow me on Twitter too, because I do other stuff besides just Java tutorials. You might have noticed I do like video games and stuff like that, and I do apologize about that. The phone went off. So until then, I will see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.